Hello everyone and welcome back to another Batman miniature game 3rd edition battle report for the channel. Today for you we have a 350 rep Penguin crew going up against a 350 rep team, the Bat family, using this table layout again one more time. I think we'll change it up a bit after this. But without further ado, let's go take a look at the specifics of both teams / crews. So in the Penguin crew there is 8 miniatures, and that's despite footing the bill to bring a funding wise quite expensive free agent. Being led by Penguin, just the default Penguin, and he's being joined by some of his specialist henchmen, although first of all sidekick is Loose Lips of course, but we have the Imperceptible Man and Mr. Combustible from his set of 4 unique kind of like hired goons. We have the big biker thug, the new one at the back there, who's got a permanent shield bonus from having that stop sign on his hand. He's pretty tanky as well. Then we have Penguin Thugs 1 and 2. Penguin Thug 1 in the yellow jacket has a radio and a grapple gun, and Thug 2 has a silencer via the Iceberg Lounge, which sadly makes it cost a lot, so that's it for bonus upgrades. And the free agent, alluded to before, is none other than the KG Beast, who is pretty deadly at range and close range. Not so much on the defensive, although he is defense 5, but he gets that negative from being one-handed. Either way though, we'll see how he does. Oh, and they will be the red markers today. And there is 5 miniatures in the Bat family team taking part today, being led by the new Viking Batman, who is massively undercosted for how killy he is. He is 100 rep on the dot, but that's way too small an amount for him in my opinion. But this list actually comes to 335 rep, I believe, so that's leaving 15 on the table. 115 puts him more where he should be. 120 is probably where he should be, but either way there's a little bit of leeway in this list, which makes him a bit more balanced points wise. He's very killy, which is odd for Batman models, but we'll see how he does today. And he's bringing along the Intel support Alfred, that is Bat family affiliated unless you have Bruce Wayne in the Batman list. We're also bringing his trusty ace, the Bat Dog, to see how he does today. Then we're bringing the new Barbara Gordon and the new Nightwing, who has Shadowed Nightmare, so he won't be on the table to start with. He'll be coming down when a suspect marker gets placed. So we'll see how they do today, and see if the Viking Batman has a place in this kind of list. He's only focused on killing and bringing down the stats of enemies nearby more so than anything else. He's definitely not a support piece, but we'll see how that fares against Penguin's crew. So we are all set up and good to go. The Penguin crew is to your left and will be taking first activation. The Bat family are on your right. Nightwing is not on the table as previously discussed, although he has an audacity marker issued to him. And they also have a bunch of passes, because it's 5 in the Bat family crew versus 8, so they've got a few there at least. And there is some cards being played, so we'll start with the Penguin side, why not? They're playing a turn 1 Die Hard, best time to get it honestly. It's being played on KG Beast, so a very good chance of that lasting, although I guess Nightwing might be able to do something about it potentially. They're also playing a territory fight, so we've seen this one before. It's the 18 by 18 inches 4 quadrants of the table. They have to have more people in more of them to control them by the end of the round, and given the difference in numbers, good chance of that scoring, even though I don't think Penguin's crew has anyone with the new tough guy rule this time. Even though that you'd think that big biker would have it, but I don't think he does. Either way, the Bat family also got a turn 1 Die Hard. It's being played on Barbara Gordon, so they'll essentially negate each other probably. But either way, let's jump into Battle Round 1 and see how this plays out. Oh, actually, you know what? No, because we have to show who has audacity, although it should be obvious for the most part for the Bat family side. Everyone except Alfred. Alfred can be inspired by Bruce because he is just a henchman. But over here, we've got the Imperceptible Man and Mr. Combustible down here. Imperceptible Man has audacity. KG Beast does. Penguin Thug 1 does, because he's the one with the grapple gun. And then Penguin himself does over here, and Thug 2 with his deadly gun is there as well. They're both base to base with this new biker thug, because once per round he can give them the bonus of his protective shield. So the game got started with Loose Lips moving forward his 8 inches into the ruined building right here. Not doing anything else with his turn, because if they want to be safe from Nightwing, they've got to be a little bit careful with how, when and where they decide to put down suspect markers. However, during his turn though, they did already burn through a couple of resource points by playing Confusion as its resource. It wasn't blocked or anything like that. During a friendly model's activation, you can move another friendly model 3 inches, or up to 3 inches. The imperceptible man was moved forward 3 inches further around the building there. So the Bat family made use of one of their many passes. So Penguin Thug 2 rather, with his very impressive gun, no audacity though, he activated. He moved up to the corner of the building right there, and then using his boss's inspired manipulate, put down a suspect marker, but he placed it within 4, because they already used their last resource point for the turn. They played secret equipment bases as a resource. When a friendly model places a suspect marker, place it within 4 inches instead. This is both to cycle the hand a little bit and to try and limit the potential locations that Nightwing can safely spawn from a suspect marker. So it was placed there. Nightwing did decide to spawn. He can spawn anywhere within 8 of it, and he has chosen right there. You know what, as the crow flies as well, he might be within range that the other part of Shadow Nightmare takes effect on that thug, and he gets enervating 1 or 2. Let's see, what's the distance? Then you may place this model within 8 inches of that suspect marker, and all models with the henchman rank within 6 suffer enervating 1. Yep, he's going to have enervating 1. Not super relevant for him, but either way, and Nightwing is there. Was going to put him on the top floor there, but Penguin's got a gun. KG Beast obviously has a gun, and even though he's an acrobat and would have cover, it's still not great. So he's down there because he's an acrobat, so he can climb and scale stuff super easy. So he's out of sight from where he is right there, and is a pretty big threat. The Bat family opted to use yet another pass, so the Penguin himself decided to activate. Not because he could do a lot with his turn, all he did was shuffle along here. He wants to be amongst his henchmen so he doesn't get jumped by Nightwing. But during his turn though, thanks to where he moved and Nightwing being there, he is able to put into effect My House, My Rules, his unique. Target an enemy model within 8 inches of your boss, doesn't say it requires line of sight, so he's picking Nightwing. Mark that model in some way. Every time that model places a suspect, inflicts KO, or removes a model as a casualty, which arrest would count as. You know, it just occurred to me I never went over any of the war gear for the Bat family. We'll do that in a second. Place 2 blood markers on this card. If at any point it has 5, you can score it, or during Penguin's turn, if it has blood markers, you can spend them to do the things listed down there. So it has a few different potential rather to do. If you don't want to score it immediately, you can use it to get advantages during the Penguin's turn. Real quick, equipment wise, Dick has magazine and what was the other thing he has? He has handcuffs. That's what made me remember, because he can arrest models, which counts as a casualty. Barbara has arrest naturally. Viking Batman has his upgraded batsuit and also arrest. And you know what? Barbara also had reconnaissance. No, sorry. She has scout innately, so she should not be where she is. She should be forwards a little bit. But we'll probably just move her up to the stairs there, because she wouldn't want to be seen by KGBs. But yeah, I totally forgot she had scout. So just to confirm where Barbara actually should have started the game, thanks to her scout move and her amazing movement stat of 12, she is starting up there in the building. It does not change anything that Penguin did. No people with guns would have been able to see her. He wouldn't have gone after her because that isn't the play he's going for right now with the cards that have been put into play. So it doesn't change anything that she's starting there. She's probably going to activate right now as well. I guess they could pass again, we'll see, but that is where she actually is. So Barbara did decide to actually take a turn, even though she does also have Informer, so she's giving an extra pass, so they have 2 left, not 1. She immediately put down a suspect marker using her built-in radio and one of the boys, so she counts as being a henchman for the purposes of Inspire, and in doing so, met the criteria for Black Ops, which is normally a Soldier's Fortune card, but Bat family have access to this now, to make up for them not having access to snitches anymore. Friendly model places a suspect marker within 8 inches of an enemy model that can't draw line of sight to the model or of a suspect. Done and done. Right there, so that's the first card actually scored by either side. Then she took a turn, because that was a free Inspired Manipulate. She moved, very, very precise movement here, to make sure that she's only just barely within 8 of the big biker thug over there, who actually does have tough guys. Just within 8, enough of being round the corner that if KG Beast wants to shoot at her, because she doesn't have Acrobat, he will need to move, even though she's lit up by that light there. Anyway, she chucked Batarangs, losing 1 because of his automatic cover from the shield he's using. Got him twice with the other 2, he's only defense 3. Would have done 4 stun, but he used Harden to convert 1 of the damage to blood. So that biker thug decided to activate, the one that just got a little bit of head trauma from a Batarang to the forehead. He didn't have Audacity, he was close enough for an Inspire from Oswald, but opted instead to just walk next to him to give him that once per round buff if he needs to, just in case Nightwing decides to go for the Penguin himself, but didn't do anything else with his turn. Alfred decided to activate for the Bat family. This is Intel Support Alfred, as previously stated, I believe. So he's got nothing to fear from guns and whatnot. He loses health from suspect markers being revealed. He walked up, and he has a built-in radio, but he was close enough to Batman anyway that he's inspired. So he put down a suspect marker, but otherwise didn't do anything else with his turn. So for the Penguin crew, KG Beast activated not to go after Alfred because he can't, but to do a play that at least again frees up the hand a little bit and hopefully keeps something very secure. He moved up and removed the suspect marker that had been placed down earlier, turning it into a turn 1 loot. It's definitely safest on him for the Penguin crew. Obviously it's got the whole game to score though, but there's no one safer for the Penguin side to be holding on to the loot that early. Ace the Best Boy activated for the Bat family and moved up, staying behind that dumpster for some cover. He used Bat Bark, which I'm just going to call Bat Bork, from where he was. Expansive, it doesn't do any damage, but what it does do is enervating 2, because I guess he barks so loudly or at a high pitch. So KG Beast is now suffering from enervating 2, which might come into play if he eventually gets attacked by someone. The Imperceptible Man activated next. What do you mean you can't see him? He's right there. Anyway, he used what's the special action called? The one where you can't be seen unless you're in base-to-base concealment. That doesn't sound right. Either way, he used whatever that's called, blanking on it at the moment. Then moved forward his 10 inches, which got him here, and he put down a suspect marker. Didn't earn anything from doing that, just kind of setting up plays for the next turn and keeping him relatively safe thanks to... maybe it is called concealment. Either way. Second last activation of the first turn for the Bat family was Viking Batman himself. Can't really do much this turn. He doesn't have any ranged options. He's got some pretty deadly double blood bat axes, which I think are overwhelming amongst other things for his stats that are just meant for killing. So he rushed forwards as far as he could get this turn, but he put him in the crosshairs for KG Beast. But Bat family are really hoping for that first activation next turn, I think, and are aiming to do some nasty stuff then. But for now he can't really do much. He does have an AoE called War Scream, but it affects friendlies as well and makes people suffer scared, so it's better done at the start of a turn rather than at the end. And the second last activation for the Penguin crew, Mr. Combustible. Without audacity, he simply walked up behind this building as well, following behind the Imperceptible Man. So it was Nightwing's turn. It was his time to act, and he had a couple of options. He had the safe-ish play, well, super safe actually, of taking out Penguin's good gun, or he could go for an early Hail Mary and try and take out the man himself. So that's what he opted to do. He hopped down, walked around the building. He's got more than enough movement with his 12 movement and no fall damage obviously. And he went over here and he went after Penguin, and he efforted twice. Penguin did not, because he was getting attacked by combo, double stun, handy Excrema sticks. So Nightwing just did a casual 12 stun damage to him. That was with the +1 to his defense rolls from the biker buffing Penguin's defense. Although actually I don't know if that stats, because doesn't Penguin already have that from his umbrella? I think he does. Yeah, he does. He has protective on him, so it doesn't matter, because I don't think it stacks. If it does, that might have made a difference, but not enough to have saved Penguin, because he's only got 7 willpower, and that's almost double. So either way, he would have been knocked unconscious. And then Nightwing is arresting him with the handcuffs purchased from funding. So no matter which way you cut it, the Back to Arkham card is scoring. Make the opponent's boss KO or remove it as a casualty. But even though Penguin is gone in turn 1, his card stays in play, because you just need to be using Penguin to do the resource cost part of it, not the actual scoring part. And on the subject of the scoring part, Nightwing, who was marked by this card, has KO'd someone and has removed someone as a casualty, which means there's 4 of the 5 markers required to make this score. So almost one more marker and it will write off what Back to Arkham just scored for them. Nightwing's obviously leaving himself in a very nasty place, sandwiched between 2 hired goons, but taking out the leader of turn 1 is pretty good. So it was Penguin Thug 1 who ended off the round. However, upon Penguin being taken out, and it matters for what Penguin Thug 1 did, not buying, don't touch is getting put into play, which is when an enemy model removes a friendly suspect or a friendly model as a casualty, mark it in some way that model has a friendly suspect within 4 inches at the end of the round. So, a chance to profit off the Penguin's demise. Penguin Thug 1 just moved up his 8 inches, put down a suspect marker. It's obviously within 4 of Nightwing, and because it's the end of the round, it's a guaranteed score. But on that note, we'll cover that as we go to scoring for the first round. So at the end of battle round 1, things are already heating up, and there is definitely going to be a fight brewing over there next turn. But we have a bunch of cards to cover, As just discussed, though, not buying don't touch scores because Nightwing does indeed have a suspect marker within 4 of them. The Penguins, My House, My Rules, one more marker point on it to score that, so it doesn't happen right now, it doesn't need to happen in the turn. The Viable Commodity stays in play on KG Beast. There are diehard scores because KG Beast was unharmed, so that's their second card scored. And believe it or not, their Territory Fight actually does score as well, because they comfortably own the bottom left corner, the Batman crew comfortably owns the bottom right corner, nobody owns the top right corner, and over here in the top left, this biker thug is riding the line. So you get to pick which section he counts for, so he's picking that side, and he has tough guys, so he counts as 2, and Barbara's the only other one in there. Nightwing is just not quite on the line, so he can't pick. So they actually do score it for a massive 3. So they made back their point difference there, even if they lost their leader. Loose Lips will be taking over as we go into Battle Round 2, and the Bat family will definitely be hoping that they get first activation. So here we are at the top of Battle Round 2. There is no cards being played by either side. They're just holding on to their full of Phase 3 hands. So we can only really cover who has Audacity. But it is the Bat family who's going first, and only because they banked those 2 passes, was it? Either way, the passes helped. So that's what secured them. Which means it's a risky play that the Loose Lips led Penguin crew now has given Audacity marker to KG Beast, because he'll be priority target number 1 to stop him getting gunshots off. But Thug 1, whichever one isn't the one with the gun, Thug 1 has the Audacity marker for the Penguin crew as well. So does Loose Lips himself, and over here so does the Invisible Man. Sorry, the Imperceptible. Perceptible. Isn't one just a different tense? Who knows? For the Bat family, Viking Batman, Ace, Barbara over here, and Dick here all have Audacity. Basically everyone except Alfred. Alfred doesn't really need it because he's got a built-in radio and he's right next to Bruce anyway. So with that, I think we all know what's going to happen. It's going to be Viking Batman trying to kill KG Beast. Can he do it? This will be a true test of his power. So the Viking Batman has struck, although don't go too crazy about all the blood damage you see there, because the Bat family can't do blood damage. That's just there to show off how much damage you can actually do. It gets converted to stun. But either way, he activated, and because KG Beast is defense 5, that's quite a hard number to match, so he used Savage Fighter as his special action, which gives him +1 and also would have pushed him back, but he would have hit into the building anyway. So he got into base to base with KG Beast. He efforted a full 3 times. KG Beast's Enervating 2 was used up. Didn't really want to use anything anyway because he knew it was getting converted to stun damage. And yeah, the Bat Axes, they have a lot more on it than I was realising. They're handy for full rerolls. They're heavy for +1 to the strength die, making it 2+. Overwhelming, whatever, vice versa. What does Overwhelming do? I always get Overwhelming and Heavy mixed up. One of them is definitely +1 to the strength die. I have it here. Overwhelming is -1 to the defense rolls, so he was -2 to his defense rolls because he's one-armed, which gives him a -1 as well, and they stack. So his defense rolls were rubbish. It was just a case of beating the 5, or thanks to Savage Fighter, getting 4s. And he did manage it and did 12 blood damage, all said and done. But it gets converted to stun, so there is a chance KG Beast can wake up, maybe. He's knocked out. Unfortunately, he had to use Savage Fire, because if he didn't, he could have used the handcuffs he was bought from funding and just instantly arrest him. But couldn't risk it with the defense 5. He did, however, score just a cheap and cheerful generic card, a dirty job for 1 point for making a model KO. Simple as that. That does mean if he does go on to be arrested, his maximum payout from being arrested and taken out becomes 4 in total instead of 3 victory points. So maybe in the long run it'll work out. Either way though, that's a nasty blow for the Penguin crew. Let's see how they retaliate. So we're staying down here for now. Penguin Thug 1 was the one to activate with Audacity, and at first he tried to play They Must Know Pain as a resource to bring KG Beast back to consciousness. Oh, speaking of which, he of course was holding on to the loot. Viking Batman is now holding on to the loot. So Penguin's crew is going to have to try and take it back from his cold dead hands. But Batman's crew played Get Them Off the Streets as a resource to stop that being played, so KG Beast remains unconscious, although that is obviously an arrest card out of their hand for now, which is bad for scoring additional points. So instead activated his grapple gun, shot all the way down here, put down a suspect marker right there, and that is in the enemy deployment zone just barely, which scores a This Is Mine. A friendly model places a suspect in the enemy deployment zone, and there is more friendly suspects than any enemy suspect markers in the gaming era, which there is 3 versus 2. So for the next activation for the Bat family, there was some Heart of the Cards Maverick shenanigans, just placing his faith in the Heart of the Cards. Nightwing activate, and in order to draw a new card, he played They Must Know Pain as a resource to heal himself that 1 stun damage he had left on him. Again, in an effort to just discard the card, or put it in the spend resource pile, draw a new card, because they got rid of the Get Them Off the Streets, but that was the first one they'd drawn. There's 2 more in the deck to draw. Did he draw one? Yes, he did. It is not staged. That is pure Heart of the Cards. He got exactly what he needed. He walked over to KG Beast and spent his special action to arrest him, scoring that for 3 points. However, that does mean also that My House, My Rules scores, so they counter each other. So it doesn't really matter, but hey, KG Beast is off the table, and he's a massive funding sink for one thing, and also deadly if he actually gets to do anything. So he's gone. Unfortunately though, a counter play on Nightwing doing that. Oh, and also, he threw some Batarangs at Penguin Thug 2, knocked him out. Damage is already on the card. He hit him twice of the 3 for 4 stun there. Just, whoops, 4 stun, which knocked him out because he's a 4 willpower model. So all their best units are not getting a chance to do anything, but Dick once again fell into the not buy and don't touch trap. So if he has a suspect marker within 4 of them at the end of the round, that's another 2 points scored back. Like, Penguin's crew is dropping like flies, but they are keeping up with the scoring and maybe even surpassing. The Imperceptible Man activated for what's left of the Penguin crew, once again activating concealment for a special action, so you have to be touching his base to see him. He went his 10 inches and has put down a suspect marker well inside the enemy deployment zone to score another. This is mine, which we just saw earlier in the turn, so that's 2 of the 3 scored. Alfred activated without Audacity, but again he has a built-in radio and Bruce is right there anyway. He did a movement action and then used that free Inspired Manipulate to remove the suspect marker that the Imperceptible Man had put down last turn, which is scoring a comb through everything, reveal an enemy suspect marker. And when you score it, you can draw 2, discard 1. Loose Lips activated and decided to bravely run away. He is hiding in the ruins of his building, right under there, and he did put down a suspect marker, didn't do anything else with his turn. He's not just being a wimp, this is forward planning for the next turn, but yeah, didn't do much this turn. So, second last activation for the Bat family was Barbara Gordon. She came around the corner here, chucked the last of her Batarangs, that's her out of them now, at the Biker Thug, losing 1 to his cover, but still hitting with the other 2. He could have converted 1 of that to blood with his Hardened, it wouldn't have made a difference, he is still knocked out. Speaking of which, she was in base to base with Penguin Thug 2 and arrested him, and scored another, get them off the streets. The Penguin crew is just crumbling before this Bat family team. So thanks to losing so many people, we're already on the last activation for Penguin's crew. It was the Mr. Combustible. Loose Lips moved such that his Inspire would catch him, his reduced Inspire range. He moved and put down a suspect marker. Didn't do anything else. So it's over to Ace, right there, to end off the turn. So Ace activated, hopped the car, got into base to base with Penguin Thug 1 here, efforted twice, and attacked. He technically does blood stun, but again, backcode means he bites less, I don't know, so it becomes double stun, so he didn't effort back in return. Managed to take, did he do that much damage? Was it that much? Either way, he's only 4 willpower, so he definitely knocked out, but apparently yeah, he did 6 stun, so he is knocked out. And because Ace is so short, if you don't count the cape part that's flowing up or the fact he's on a rock, that car is tall enough that he actually couldn't see or be seen by the Thug at the start of his activation, so he's scoring a cheeky 1 point with They Won't See Me Coming. So at the end of Battle Round 2, there's only 5 Penguin miniatures left on the field, and 2 of them were knocked out, however 1 did wake up, the Biker Thug over there, but Thug 1 has not, so he's staying knocked out. In terms of cards in play, the valuable commodities for the Penguin crew stays in play, although Viking Batman is currently holding on to them, good luck getting it back off of him. The Not Bind Don't Touch scores. Nightwing does indeed have a enemy suspect marker within 4 of him, or sorry, a friendly from the Penguin's perspective, so that scores for 2. No additional cards being played by the Bat family, so with that we are jumping in to Battle Round 3 in what is going to be a very quick tail end of the game, just based on the number of bodies left on the table. So here we are at the top of the penultimate turn, Battle Round 3. There is no cards being put into play by either side again, so the only thing to cover is who has Audacity. Mr. Combustible does, the Imperceptible Man does, the thug that's just knocked, the biker thug that's just knocked down now, and Loose Lips hidden in here, have them for the Loose Lips / Penguin crew. And then for the Bat family, it's everybody except Alfred again. Poor Alfred with his radio, he doesn't really need it, so why bother? So, with that, it is the Bat family once again taking first activation. Pray for the Penguin crew. So Batgirl Barbara got the game started, moved into base to base with the knocked down biker thug, attacked him with her reinforced gloves, got him twice, so he's re-knocked out, and she's using her special action to arrest him, just to remove him from the field. No cards on that, but she did put into play the Soldier of Fortune card, Cyber Attack. You pick 2 enemy suspect markers, roll 1d3 plus 2. Each subsequent activation they tick down by 1. If either of them is still in play by the time they hit 0, you score the card. 1 plus 2 for a 3. That suspect marker, and that one over there. Very good chance of it scoring. Mr. Combustible, the walking light bulb, activated with audacity for once, moved up to the corner there and revealed the suspect marker that I believe Alfred put down last turn, which in turn deals 1 damage to the butler. But because he is within 6 inches of 2 of his own suspect markers, one there, and indeed Loose Lips, who is the sidekick / leader, he actually scores Loose Lips' card, Street Transaction. A friendly model reveals an enemy suspect marker within 6 of 2 friendly suspects and a friendly model with the leader or sidekick rank. So it's scored for a massive 3. Like, Penguin's crew is obviously getting their butt kicked on the table. I think they're ahead, points-wise. Nightwing activated, and one thing to note about this Nightwing, he actually has Searcher, which is -1 enemy resource points, and I don't think anyone on the Penguin crew has anything that gives them resource points. And I think turn 1 they spent all 3, so they shouldn't have been able to do that. That was an error. But cut them some slack, they're falling down like nobody's business. Anyway, Nightwing dashed across here, he arrested the unconscious Penguin Thug 1, didn't score anything on it, just did it. Stopped part way thanks to Always on the Move to chuck some batarangs to Mr. Combustible, did pretty badly with the roll actually. Strength die was the only one that got through for, well, there's not a strength die when you're throwing, but either way they were all 3s anyway. So 1 got through for 2 stun. And with the next activation that's about to happen, the counter for Cyber Attack would count down to 0. No matter who goes, they're not going to get both suspect markers removed, so we're just going to count that as scored now for 2. So it was the Imperceptible Man to go next. Don't ever try to perceive him, you just can't do it. But during Nightwing's turn there, he keeps on activating these trap cards. The third and final, I believe, Not Bind, Don't Touch on Nightwing again. And it's going to score again because there's a suspect marker right there that he couldn't get rid of. He has Vigilante's work, but he's not a detective, so he can't interact from 3 inches away. So yeah, that's going to score on him. But Imperceptible Man, he activated Concealment, moved up. Oh, forgot to put the suspect marker down, but he did put a suspect marker down. And in doing so, scored the final, I believe, This Is Mine. Alfred activated and moved into the street where you can see, and again made use of that radio to put down a suspect marker in the street, leaving just Viking Batman to activate for their side, and for Penguin's side I believe it's just Loose Lips. So Loose Lips did activate, however Ace hasn't gone this turn yet either, so there's 2 activations left for the Bat family, but Penguin's crew is done. Loose Lips walked back a little bit, put down another suspect marker, and scored the first goods raid of the game. A friendly model places a suspect marker and you have at least 2 more in play than your opponent. They have many more at this point. I think they're up to 6 of the 8 that are allowed, maybe 7. Either way, scores for 2. Ace activated, ran over to the suspect marker that Alfred put down, removed it and turned it into loot, valuable commodities. Last possible chance turn-wise to be able to play this because you can't play it in the final round. So as much as Viking Batman wanted to murder, death, kill, he wanted to win more, so he went for points. He did, however, run after Loose Lips, but instead of attacking him, used his tactical action to reveal the suspect marker that had been placed down by the man himself in order to score confusion for revealing an enemy suspect marker within 8 of the enemy deployment zone, taking us to the scoring for the penultimate round. So at the end of battle round 3, there's no knockout checks to do, and there is no additional cards being played. Of the cards being already in play, Not Bind, Don't Touch once again scores, thanks Nightwing. I believe all 3 of them scored on him, for there being a suspect marker within once he got marked, so that scored for 2. Valuable Commodities is the only other card for each side in play. Ironically, Viking. Violent, well he is violent, but he is also a Viking. Viking Batman has both sets of valuable commodities on his person, so they're very secure. And with that, we're going into the final turn. Dawn of the final day, the final battle round, and I'm sure it's going to be very quick. Everybody left alive on the table has Audacity, so that's nice and quick. There's one Phase 2 card being played. It's another territory fight by the Penguin crew. Not super likely it's going to score, but hey, might as well give it a shot. That goes along with the valuable commodities on each side. And it is the Penguin crew that has managed to snatch first activation. Although they have a couple of passes if they, for some insane reason, want to use them. Well, to get the turn started, Penguin's crew decided you might as well try and do some damage since your heavy hitters died before they could. So Mr. Combustible activated and he went after Nightwing with his sharp double blood sword. They both efforted 3 times each, so that's why there's the red 3 there for Mr. Combustible. Only the strength die got through all said and done though, but that's 2 blood to Nightwing. Independent of that happening though, during Mr. Combustible's turn he put a profitable negotiation into play, so you look at the opponent's hand, pick a when to score Phase 3, and if it doesn't score, you score the card. Unfortunately, the hand of the Bat family is very, very likely to score regardless of what was picked. The least possible chance card was Black Ops, so that's been picked. So in a spite activation, Barbara activated, used her back claw to give her more than enough movement to fire off down here, to put down a suspect marker that neither she nor it can be seen by Loose Lips. It's got a wall there, if you can just make that out, so he's totally blocked off even if the windows counted, which I guess they do, but again, doesn't matter. So that scores the Black Ops, and therefore that profitable negotiations is dumped. So Loose Lips activated, but there was no point in him shooting his assault and blood double stun shotgun into Viking Batman because he has medium armor. He would lose 2 dice, so he would lose all dice. So he just ran away from him around here. He can still reach him. He's just going to make him work for it. During his turn, he did put into play another profitable negotiation, but again, the choices are still really bad. Pick Dirty Job, because at least there's a chance he might survive the double axe attack coming his way soon. Not likely, but hey, well, even if he does, then Mr. Combustible is close to unconscious. There was no good cards to pick for it, basically. Yeah, so we didn't bother putting down the markers for it. Viking Batman walked around the corner. I believe he did 9 damage to... No, wait, no, it was more than that. It was 12, I think. Yeah, it was 11 or 12, either way. Can't quite remember. It doesn't matter. A lot more than his 6-7 endurance, either way. And did score on that, the Dirty Job, which means the profitable negotiations won't score. The only upside is that that's obviously just a 1-point score. Loose Lips is dead. No, sorry, he's not dead. He would be unconscious, but he has a special action still and he has handcuffs, so he arrested him, which counts as a kill as well. But without the blood damage. Dirty Job's only worth 1. The other cards in hand were worth 2, so perhaps missing out on the chance to score that just to save the 2 points from the Penguin might in the end work out better? Question mark. So there is actually nothing the Imperceptible Man can do to score any cards, and he's their last activation. He activated Concealment and is literally hiding in the corner. He ran down to the corner of the table. He is just staying there doing nothing. We'll see if there's anything that Nightwing or Ace can do to score a card. If not, we'll be at the end of the game, but we'll see in a second. So they were both actually able to do something, so let's just cover that real quick. Ace walked forwards, put down a suspect marker, because for some reason animals can still do that, and because it was so close to the enemy suspect marker, scored an Under Their Nose, the League of Assassins card. A friendly model places a suspect within 4 of an enemy. Suspect, that is. Dick just turned around and beat up Mr. Combustible. The roll wasn't that great, actually, considering how much damage he can put out. Neither of them efforted. One, Mr. Combustible couldn't. He had 1 in willpower left. But 2 hits got through. 1 was a strength die. 4 stun, knocking him out and scoring another Dirty Job. So, the Penguin crew utterly decimated, almost to a man. In fact, if you don't count conscious people, yeah, to a man. Actually, Dick didn't even use his special action, so he could just arrest him. So actually, literally to a man. The Imperceptible Man, to be exact, is the last man standing on the table. But, that said, Penguin could still swing this points-wise. Let's go over the final scoring. So we've just got the final recap to do real quick before the final scores. Valuable commodities and territory fight in play for the Penguin. Neither of them score. Viking Batman has their loot, and there's only 1 model left, and he's in a contested zone. The valuable commodities for the Bat family does score. With that, we can now see who's actually won. Well, it all comes down to this. The Batman pile definitely chunkier, but there's quite a few lower scoring cards in there than here. So let's just see. We'll start with the Batman side. So 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. 30 on the dot. Very, very healthy score. Let's see how the Penguin crew compares. So, 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. So not enough. 25 versus 30 means that the Bat family has comfortably taken this, both on the battlefield and in terms of victory points. That was a very effective Bat family list. I think them definitely letting the Penguin crew come forwards helped them, snatching, or almost guaranteeing thanks to unused passes, first activation in the second round, taking out KG Beast. A big plus. Nightwing being able to take out the Penguin as well. If that biker thug had bodyguard, that wouldn't have happened. But he doesn't. You'd think he would, but he doesn't. Maybe you can buy him in funding, actually. That would have been a massive help. But a Penguin needs somebody bodyguarding him. Like, literally, I mean, with the role. But, didn't happen. Very fun one, though. So, thank you very much for watching. I sincerely hope you enjoyed. We'll be back in the future with some new crews, new table layout. So, hope you come back then for that. Until then, ta-ta for now.